Good evening, everyone, and welcome into a Thursday edition of Let's Talk Oconee. We'll be joining with our broadcast partners, including Yerba and Cathy, all coming up here in just a few moments. Want to welcome Rannie in. Rannie, I'm about ready for a great show this evening.
I think it's going to be spectacular.
You have exclusive information that we're going to pass along to folks coming up here in just a few moments. So hold on, that's all coming up. But first, as we promised you, we actually have an interview that we were able to conduct a couple of, actually earlier last week with Zach Hinton, who is with the Blue Ridge Electric Cooperative and Upcountry Fiber. You know, we've had the discussion about broadband fiber. Well, I think this interview that you're about to hear.
Is that what came out from Matt Durham saying that they were going to put that in this year and gave hard deadlines and dates?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So we're going to actually hear it directly from Zach Hinton. And then we're going to come back here. So just pair it with us because we've got a big show and we're prepared to run over if need be.
Awesome.
So we're going to go ahead and check in with that interview that was I was able to sit down with Zach. And welcome here to Let's Talk Oconee SC. And today here this Thursday evening, we got a special guest. We had talked about a couple of weeks ago about the status of broadband fiber throughout Oconee County. And Mr. Zach Hinton over here from Blue Ridge Electric kind of reached out to me, and I actually appreciate him doing that because we've got him in the studio now, and we're going to talk about broadband fiber. Zach, welcome into the show.
Jeff, good to be here with you, and thank you for having me on today.
Well, I kind of really wanted to set the record straight for you to let you guys and tell everybody actually what's going on. We all know that this broadband topic has been a very hot topic for basically ever since the project was announced in 2012. Yeah. Zach, kind of give us up to date where we are now, and then we'll take a little look back, and then we'll look into the future of Upcountry Fiber. Of course, this is a joint venture between Western Carolina TEL, the WC TEL, and Blue Ridge Electric, and kind of get us up to speed of where we are right now.
Absolutely. I appreciate you giving me that opportunity to do that, Jeff. So I'm very excited about where we are with the project. And if I ramble or go long, just tell me.
Okay.
I'll try to run it in a little bit because I can talk about this for a while. But just to kind of give everybody a context of sort of where we are and where we are now. So we started, actually go all the way back to 2019, the co-op. We started hearing from our electric customers about broadband issues across our service territory. And for folks that don't know, we cover 5 counties, portions of 5 counties, Oconee being a large portion of that, Pickens County, but we also cover portions of rural Anderson County and northern Greenville County as well. And then a very slim portion of northern Spartanburg County in the Landrum area.
Right.
So the most southern part of our territory is in Fairplay.
Yep.
The most northern part is in Landrum. That's about 7,100 miles of power lines and the largest geographic footprint of any electric cooperative in the state.
Right.
So we started hearing from folks that said, we're struggling with access to broadband internet. And so we did some surveying of our membership and of the area itself. And the response was just overwhelming. I mean, we need it now. Some of the comments you heard is, I would have not have moved here or I would not have built my house here had I known.
And, I've heard that numerous times because when someone builds their home, if they're from out of Oconee or they're from out of the state, that we all know that a lot of other areas already have the broadband and completely rolled out in their communities, but we're one that doesn't yet. Yeah. And that was one of their decisions. And all of a sudden, so when they sign on the dotted line, who's my provider?
Yeah.
And then they find out, well,
a lot of people took it for granted
yes.
that there's a that's no problem. And the survey we sent out was pre-pandemic. So this is
this was 2019
yes,
when the service went out.
So pre-COVID, pre-virtual learning, Teams meetings, all those things that just ramped it up.
Right.
So we said, okay, there's a need here. Co-op's got a good track record of providing essential services. And so we said, okay, we're going to get involved in this. And then we said, all right, well, how? We're not broadband experts. And so we started looking around and, if you know anything about our business model, we're a not-for-profit utility, do provide essential services, mostly out in the rural areas of those counties I mentioned. And so you say, okay, well, who could help here? And so there's a telephone cooperative out of Abbeville, South Carolina. Right. You mentioned the West Carolina telephone. Our CEO, Jim Lovegood, and their CEO, Jeff Wilson, had kind of met each other a little bit. And we just began to talk and have conversations, say, okay, hey, how would something like this work? How would it look? And so when you look at the two entities, we're very similar corporately, philosophically, we're customer driven, customer service driven. And so we said, we think this could work. And so, the way that our partnership is, Blue Ridge Electric, we are building the highway, we're building the network, we're putting in the fiber. Those guys provide the service. You call, if you call, you're going to talk to one of their customer service representatives in Abbeville.
They're your installers.
Yeah,
and
they're going to come out of your house.
They're your first line people.
Yeah, they're your customer facing part of it. And they do a great job. So we started that process. And once we decided we were going to kick it off, we said, okay, well, where do you go? Like I mentioned, we got 7,100 miles of line. Well, we decided to start in Oconee County. And we started in a little area called Stillwater. And it was a little pilot project. We really kind of started there. This is pre-Oconee Focus where we got involved with that.
That's correct.
Because that's really the only place we could get a fiber lease. So, but we talked with those folks. They had a little bit of internet service, a little bit of competition in there, but it wasn't anything, too major. But overwhelmingly, that community said, yes, we want it. We embraced it. And so got a really good take right there and built out. And that was a success. And so we said, okay, we're going to dive off into this bad boy. As you can imagine, you sit there and try to manage expectations when you're talking about a project this size. But obviously there's a huge need and people want it. And I probably spend the majority of my time talking to folks, giving them updates on where we are. When is it coming to you? That's what, when's it coming to me? So we have completed system wide. So this is in the 5 counties we serve, over 1,400 miles of fiber optic cable. We have hung or buried 1,400 miles of fiber optic cable across our system. Of that 1,400 miles, over 400 of that has been in Oconee County. We serve roughly 8,000 customers right now. Of those 8,000, half of those customers are in Oconee County.
Does that include the mileage of the fiber? Does that include what we already had pre-existing?
No, sir.
That does not.
That's an add too. So I'll give you a breakdown on that. So and my mileage may be just a tad off, but I'll use an approximate. I want to say that original Focus network was somewhere in the 200 to 250 miles. 244. That sounds about right. So and that thing was built. From my understanding, to connect fire departments and county buildings and anchor institutions to get a backbone network out into
and then from that point forward, it was supposed to be, I think it was called last mile providers would be able to distribute from the fire departments and all out. Right.
So that was roughly 250 miles of fiber. I think, since it was in existence before we took over, maybe another 100, 150 had been added to it. We added an additional 450 miles of that just this past year.
Wow.
So we doubled the size of the network in Oconee County in 1 year.
Wow.
Just to give you some averages, we hang or bury over 100 miles of fiber a month. We hook up over 500 new customers a month. That's the pace we're on right now. And we've got over, and to me, this is probably one of the parts I'm proud of. We've got over 400 men and women working on our project right now, between those at Blue Ridge, West Carolina, and our contractors.
And your contractors that are on the ground.
Yeah. And so, you talk about a huge economic impact. Matter of fact, I'm proud to say our contractors are headquartered, right out here outside of Seneca on Wells Highway.
On Wells Highway.
You 7 o'clock in the morning, traffic can get a little heavy with those guys, but yeah, so I'm very proud of where we are. But we got a lot of road to go, brother. Man, we got a lot of road to go.
Let's talk about 2023. You started January 1 and a focus towards the rural area of Oconee County. Tell us a little about what's planned for Upcountry Fiber over in the rural area from Fairplay to Long Creek Mountain Rest.
Absolutely. So our goal this year is focusing predominantly on those hardest to reach, hardest to go to areas. And in Oconee County, that's the majority of it. And Oconee County has probably been in a tougher spot than most other counties in South Carolina. So what we are committed to do this year is build out all of Mountain Rest, all of Long Creek, all of, I call it Madison, Toccoa Highway, west of Westminster.
Yeah, Toccoa Highway, anything out that way.
Yeah. Matter of fact, if you drive down Cleveland Pike Road right now, you're going to see an army of folks hanging fiber right now. The Tomasi Salem area, Oakway, Dr. John's, the retreat community in that area. I'm kind of working myself north to south. and then all the way down into Fair Play, kind of finishing the parts of Fair Play / Golden Corner that we didn't get to initially. Our goal, and we're going to do all that this year, Jeff,
for 2023.
2023. So that represents over 900 miles of fiber, roughly 20,000 address points passed. So our goal is to hopefully, I can stand up and look you in the eye, this time next year and say the hardest hit areas of Oconee County are served with the best technology available, and we can all feel really good about what we've done.
I think that's the biggest thing, Zach, is to making sure that people get the information, because there's not a lot of people don't use social media or anything like that. And it's kind of like what I wanted to have you here is to clear up, even if I had misconceptions, which I did. And, you've helped answer a lot of those questions.
And I really appreciate that.
I do. Yeah. And that's what I believe. And I want to give you an opportunity to say, hey, look, tell me if I'm wrong, and then let's set the record straight.
Absolutely.
And seeing and knowing what you've told me and seeing it for myself, we're on a real top of the mountain in turning the technology for infrastructure in Oconee County into something that, hey, look, we have something here that potentially could spur economic development.
Absolutely.
When businesses come in, there's about 3 different things that they're looking for. Of course, we all know about sewer right now, which is a hot topic in Oconee County. But the infrastructure, when it comes to telecommunications, businesses want to know, can they readily hook up to fiber? And, I want listeners to understand, fiber is the way to go. Fiber works when other devices don't work.
Great point.
And also, let's hope this never happens, but fiber and the EMP strike, you can still use fiber internet during an EMP strike. So you still have communication technology. And the thing of it is, it's hardwired.
That's right.
Cellular devices and all of that can be wiped out in a natural disaster, but the fiber in the ground, buried, fiber will continue to work. So there is a big important difference. And also too, if having fiber at your home, it does help to increase your value of your home.
Absolutely.
It has become, when realtors are coming in here and people are buying up homes and asking, the first thing now in the conversation is high speed, is broadband available. And if you have fiber from, say, Upcountry Fiber, it gives you 2 to 3 more % that your property's worth because it's already there.
I saw something, and this has been a little while ago, Jeff. Someone sent something to me. It was a Zillow, one of the MLS kind of things, and it was a house out in down that Fair Play Port Bass area, and they were actually marketing that as a tool. As a tool. It's that has fiber optic internet service to the house. So you're exactly right. It is a positive, and it can increase those values. And agree with everything you said about an economic driver. In today's world where folks can work from home, you can do a virtual meeting, virtual school. I've got small kids. They're on the tablets and the Chromebooks with the school system. It really, it's a game changer. You can live in Mountain Rest or Long Creek, definitely by the end of this year, and you could, telecommute to Atlanta or Charlotte or wherever it is that your business is headquartered. And you can work from home. That's quality of life. That's quality of life. That's economic drivers. That's folks who are, going to stay in Oconee County, spend money in Oconee County, raise their family in Oconee County. So it really is an exciting venture. I wanted, if you don't mind me taking a moment, I wanted to tell a little bit of a story here. Folks kind of asked me sort of, what sort of some of your favorite anecdotes and things like that as this project's gotten on. So we're currently building a project out in the Picket Post area, Picket Post, Oconee Station Road,
Camp Oak.
Yes. Yeah. Kind of that north of Walhalla area. There's a gentleman, and say, well, how did that get started? Well, there's a gentleman by the name of Bert Carver. And Bert, I hope Bert doesn't get mad at me. Bert's in his 80s.
He's in his 80s. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I don't know that Bert uses a whole lot of internet, but he realized that there was a need in his little area, and so he called up and said, look, we're in a tough spot. We need internet. And he said, what can I do to help? And I said, well, Bert, biggest thing you can do is go talk to your neighbors, go talk to the people in your community out there, and just encourage them to sign up, because we obviously. I do remind folks, this is still a business, and so we've got to go get customers and things like that. And I said, Bert, that's the best thing you can do, because we want to know. And so he called me about 3 or 4 weeks later, and he said, hey, I got about 90, 92, 93 signatures to sign up. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. And he said, how do I get this to you? I said, well, I said, can you email them to me? He said, well, I don't really do email. I said, okay. So I went out and met him out there, and he had stacks of notebook paper where he had gotten in his truck and drove around the community, the picket post community, and got people to sign up. And it just kind of, I get a little emotional when I think about it, Jeff, because that's how people signed up for power 80 years ago. It was people like people like Dave Striblin in Oconee County who got in his car, drove around the farms, and said, hey, we used to be known as the REA, Rural Electrification. Hey, the REA says they'll come if we can get X amount of people to sign up. And there's people like him. There's people like Jack Arvey over off of Hess Highway, Rock Crusher Road. There are people like that who, again, these gentlemen probably don't use a whole lot of internet themselves, but they realize the need in their community, and they stepped up and helped their community, and they're being served today because of it. And so I just
that's interesting though. Seriously, that's how it was.
That's how it was done 80 years ago.
That's how it was done.
Yeah,
and the neighbors would go around and ask for signatures, and that's how Blue Ridge came to be. And Blue Ridge has been in existence since 1941.
Yes, sir.
41.
Yes, sir.
Gosh, 82 years now.
82 years. I also remind folks, it took us 82 years to build 7,100 miles of electric line. We're gonna do the fiber in a little bit better time frame than that.
One of the stories, I think, was a couple of years ago. I remember this was right before Blue Ridge Fest, that you guys had went out and found one of the old original power poles from the 40s.
Yes.
I thought that was one of the greatest stories.
Sam McMillan, I know you know Sam.
I know Sam.
We've still got that, the original stamp from the REA when that pole was set back in 1941, 1942.
My question is there any others? But and somewhere there probably
is. Again, you got 701 miles of line. There probably is a pole or two that's still out there. So.
Upcountry Fiber, let's talk about that. There, the website, and you can go to the website too, and you can submit your address at upcountryfiber.com.
Yes, sir.
You can submit your address. And also, I think online it'll tell you a little bit more if they're in your area or not. So if it pops up, you're in our area, then you can finish the registration process.
That's right. You can go and physically put in an order. I would encourage you, even if for some reason the website doesn't say we're in your area, please go ahead and register your interest, because what that will do is that triggers us to, once we submit those addresses, say, okay, orders are now available. Those folks know, hey, go and give those folks a call. Go ahead and get them in and signed up. And so, just because something says, hey, we're not in your area, we're coming. I mean, I think that's important for folks to know. Okay. We're coming. If you're obviously if you're a Blue Ridge Electric customer, we're coming. But it's also, and this is particular to Oconee County. Obviously there's areas of the county that are served by Duke Power, Seneca Light and Water, City of Westminster, because of our responsibility with the network and to the taxpayers of Oconee County.
Right.
We feel that need. We've got to provide service to folks throughout all of Oconee County. So, don't get discouraged. You're like, well, Blue Ridge doesn't serve me power. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. And we'll definitely have that conversation with you. So,
okay, very good. All right, Zach Hinton again from Blue Ridge Electric Cooperative, representing Upcountry Fiber, the joint venture between WCTEL and Blue Ridge. And again, it tells a story for 2023. Things are going to be happening more towards fair play. I know that y'all already laid some line around Oakway on Highway 24.
That's correct.
But you're still going to move that towards Toccoa Highway, and where we had heard from a lot of folks that were very concerned that they have nothing out there.
And same here. I tell you, we've got some Blue Ridge employees that live out that way. We've got a lot of folks, and I talk to folks out in those areas consistently. And again, and I remind my folks a lot that, when you hear from folks in Oconee County, particularly, take a little bit of extra time and listen to them, because, they have been, they've been told for a long time that internet's coming, and we're going to make sure that happens. But you understand that when you talk to someone from Oconee County, there's a little bit of frustration there. And so we want to make sure that we hear those folks, listen to folks, and communicate with those folks about what our plan is. And so, Toccoa Highway, hang on. Like I said, we're out there on Cleveland Pike Road right now, and then we're going to be working from there back towards the city of Westminster. So it's here, brother.
Awesome. All right, folks, another set. We are coming up here in just a few moments. We'll be checking in with more information here on Let's Talk Oconee SC, our website, letstalkoconeesc.com, and we'll have more coming up on the other side. Stay with us. Well, we are welcoming you in for the official time. Good afternoon, good evening to you here. It's Jazzy Jeff along with Rannie Bond. We've got Chris with his San Francisco and the Hater Blockers, and Cathy's on screen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you this fine evening?
Wonderful.
Terrific. Listening to it rain.
I know. I mean,
Got
rain is
all-
the most important thing, right, Rannie?
We got all these people praying for rain, but they're not ready for the mud.
So I do have some breaking news. We've got some reports. Of course, earlier, the Oconee County Sheriff's Office released a press release that there was 2 teenagers that were missing. Apparently, they have been found
Awesome.
in Mountain Rest at the Dollar General. There is a whole lot of other issues, too, and we're going to wait till we get more word on what the whole deal was about it, but apparently they have been located. And if we get some updates, we'll pass that along during the show. I want to thank Zach Hinton from Blue Ridge for joining us, Blue Ridge Electric, to discuss the fiber. So just want to let you know that we actually had the interview first before, the other person decided to, call. And
Well, you mean
love it.
somebody outscooped you, or you out what?
Well, they might have think they outscooped me, but actually I outsmarted them. So there you go. Hey, I want to say hello to Samantha Johnson, who is a big fan of our program. Rainey, I mean, seriously, she's huge.
It probably is. Yeah, it was such a big fan that you put a map of where my children live as her profile picture. Not scary at all.
Well, let's go ahead. We've got a lot to get to. And the first up I want to get to tonight in our conversation is, unfortunately, the SDOC is back in the news again.
It's where we like to keep them.
Well, how should we start this conversation?
Well, I think our listeners expect us just to be blunt about it.
You can't sleep on a bus, then you can sleep on a bus. You can't lay on the seat, but you can be upright in the seat. But you still can't pick up a student 9/10 of a mile because you say the road is unsafe, right?
There's a lot going on with that, Jeff, and I think that they just shift policy around to meet their needs. In a lot of cases, these rules have probably been there for a long, long time. And all of a sudden, one kid gets in trouble for something, and their parents point out all the other violations. So there's a knee-jerk reaction.
Kind of sounds like it.
Bus safety. I mean,
I get it.
I
mean,
really do hope that they pay our bus drivers what they should get.
They should.
I mean, they're already talking about giving teachers a huge raise.
Well,
but then there's contention.
There's contentions that the
whether
teachers are not going.
Which teachers are going to get
that? That's exactly right.
But how did that El Paso recruiting thing go? Anybody ever hear?
No.
They bring in some Latino speakers.
Nope.
Back.
I didn't hear
El Paso.
Look, Cathy, there's more. You can add a lot to this conversation because I just know you're beaming to add some to this because you have the thoughts and feelings that we kind of do, that things are just not right. There's something dead wrong with the school district of Oconee County. I don't know what it is, but something isn't right.
I just feel like they have got so much talent, and they've got so many teachers that have good hearts, and they are just pouring themselves into that place. But when you look at anything, it's like they're afraid to talk. They're afraid to do anything. And that's not just badmouth the place. They're afraid to say good stuff about the place.
I tell you what, though.
You don't hear them say anything about the place. So that to me tells me that, there's some sort of something going on there. That they're job scared or something. I don't understand, man. I don't get it.
I tell you, they're not job scared at Duke. They'll say anything.
Speaking of Duke, I know we're talking about this, but speaking of Duke, do you have an email?
So, yeah, after that OCC guy put his op-ed in the paper that said Duke was leaving, I reached out and I asked some questions to Duke Energy
Mhm.
about whether or not they were leaving. And I'd like to read this email. It says, "Hi, Rannie. Thank you for reaching out. Scott and I work together. He's copied on the email, and I've attached an Oconee Nuclear Station fact sheet for reference, as well as a fact sheet regarding subsequent license renewal. Duke Energy is a proud part of the upstate of South Carolina. We have been part of the community for more than 50 years, and we plan to be part of this community for decades to come. Our nuclear plant remains an economic driver in the community, providing well-paying jobs, significant tax revenue, partnership opportunities, and other benefits. Duke's Duke Energy's nuclear fleet plays an important role in lowering our company's and nation's carbon emissions. Our low carbon future depends on many factors, including subsequent license renewal for the nuclear fleet. Our nuclear plants are good candidates for subsequent or second license renewal, and our intent is to renew the license a second time for the 11 units that we operate at 6 plants in the Carolinas. Duke Energy submitted a comprehensive Oconee Nuclear Station subsequent license renewal application to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in June 2021. If the application is approved, the subsequent license would allow the 3 Oconee nuclear units to operate for an additional 20 years until at least 2053. The NRC is currently reviewing our SLR application using its established comprehensive renewal process. Oconee Nuclear Station is licensed by the Nuclear Regulatory Commissions. Its license is independent from the Kiowee Toxaway Project and the Bad Creek Pump Storage Hydro Station license,
So
which are both
so
separately licensed.
Let
by
me
the
ask you a
FDA.
question. They're separately licensed. The Lake
Right.
Kiwi Toxaway Project, the Oconee Nuclear, they're separate projects. Okay, go ahead.
And then they deferred me to the NRC website
Mm-hmm.
regarding any decommissioning of nuclear power plants and the safety of doing that. But the key to this is that op-ed by David Nix, an
Mhm.
employee at Duke and a planning commissioner, was very disingenuous,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say borders on a lie, according to what Duke is saying.
Yeah, you know what though? I tell you what really confuses me is this person is a longtime employee at Duke. And when you read that, I was really surprised. I'm like, what's going on here? I mean, what's this about closing? I mean, and I wasn't the only one. But I'll tell you what, we all knew when we were working that, hey, listen, your job is to do your job and you don't speak out of turn because all he did was cause issues for Duke. I would have been fired. And I just can't believe this. I mean, look, this is pretty reckless if you ask me. If I had an employee that did that, I guarantee you there'd be a problem.
Cathy?
Well, I just don't understand. It's not as though they supply the power. I mean, they are the only place making power. I mean, we have other electrical places, but they are buying their power from Duke. So even if they were to close, there would be some other. If they had to close that particular station, they would have another station in place. There would be a plan in place. It's not like just they're going to turn out the lights one day. So yeah, I think it's kind of a reckless thing to say. It's not like just one day they're going to shut down and everybody's going to be without power, no lights, and all the people are going to be that work there are going to be without jobs. It's
Well,
20 years. I mean, and that's just for that particular station. Sure, everything gets old and has to be replaced, but it's not as though this is going to be, something that's going to happen tomorrow and there's going to be no plan ahead of time. I'm like you. I think it was for shock and awe and to try to get people stirred up because they have an agenda.
But here's the thing. Duke Energy pays $37 million in taxes to the county.
Mm-hmm.
How much money does a business have to make to have to pay $37 million in taxes?
They're the biggest.
County?
They're the biggest
Yeah.
taxpayer in Oconee
But no,
County.
what I'm saying is, if you owned a restaurant, how much of your revenue goes to pay county taxes?
Well, I think you'd have to start taxing the OCC.
But
because their organization is so big and huge that they need to put a surcharge on their organization. You know, the OCC LLC. I mean, really.
But what I'm saying is, you could bring 10 more Itrons, 10 more Borg Warners, 10 more of Pick-a-Plant, and we probably wouldn't receive $37 million in tax.
But see, that's the flaw with what they're saying with this new thing and what they're doing. You bring in the Pick-a-Plant that you're talking about, they're not charging them any taxes. They're going in the hole just to get them here.
And the thing about it is there's planned obsolescence that's built into every business for every factory that there is. And if you can look it up, a quick Google search, how long does a production plant usually last? 13 to 15 years. Well, that lasts just about as long as the tax write-off. And then they're ready to move somewhere else because they're not interested in paying local taxes.
That's about right.
And they leave an abandoned building. Just drive down 123 towards Westminster, and you'll see several abandoned factories that left when their tax break was up.
We have one that was in the midst of a tax break that has shut down. Right. I don't know what the outcome of that plastic place is right now, but
it's changed names.
Yeah, but no, they've shut it down.
I went by there. It's not Pure Zero anymore. There's another name, Clarity One or something on the building.
So it's interesting though. Or my problem is when you do these fee of lieu agreements, making sure that we don't get stuck, the taxpayers, of having to pave a parking lot in a development. That happened about 10, 15 years ago in one of these fee of lieu. I mean, that, I get you're wanting to bring people here and you're wanting to create jobs and stuff, but at what point do you say, okay, wait a minute.
But wait a minute. This guy's Alexander guy in the paper said that they don't want to bring people here. This is on the website thing. They want to have high paying jobs for their children and grandchildren. But the problem with that is if you got to have education and training and all of those things to have skills to get a high paying job, right?
Yeah. And we've got jobs now that we can't fill.
But then we look back to the school system and we look at the graduation rate and we look at where these folks are going, what they're doing. And there's not that many of them graduating looking for high paying jobs in Oconee County.
The best thing that the school district of Oconee County has done is that Hamilton Career Center. I will be honest, that Hamilton Career Center, working with some of the local businesses, are putting students into these good paying jobs. And for example, my boy Manley was able to complete his firefighter 1 and 2 certification through the Hamilton Career Center. He also became an EMT because of it. And that is one thing that the SDOC has done good. And they've worked with the local businesses to try to cross-train these students so that when they graduate, they're walking out of high school. So there is some good things here, but overall,
there's not a manufacturing plant coming to Oconee County that is going to pay the same as Duke Power.
That's true.
That's true.
Another thing
is you need to look at the manufacturing plants that are coming to Oconee County, and you need to compare the pay to what they're paying in Anderson County, in Greenville County. Go over to, people keep saying, oh, look at Livonia, look at Hart County. Compare the pay for a machinist in Oconee County. Are they paying these new plants that are coming over and getting the big tax break and everything? Compare the pay to other places. Are they paying? Are they paying the people? Are they paying about 30 to 40% less?
It's 30, 40% less. It always has been, Cathy. You're right.
Because they are taking that money that they're saving in taxes and they're sending it back to their corporate. They're sending it back to their corporate. They're not reinvesting in South Carolina. They're not reinvesting in Oconee, and they're not passing it along to the people on the floor, the people actually doing the work. And that's where the flawed logic is with all of this.
Okay, so
good paying jobs. They're not good paying jobs. They're using people. They're using our people. So they can put that in their pipe and smoke it, and send all the emails, all little hate things. and call the telephone number, but that's the truth.
Before you
Do
go
the
any further,
research. That's the truth.
Chris, before you go, I'm going to let you respond in a second. Rannie just brought up a very good point on something. A French plastic plant. What would it pay if it was located in Oconee County? Chris, it's all yours now.
Okay, so I understand what Randy's saying. I understand what Cathy's saying. I don't agree with Randy about the longevity of the manufacturing, because there are a lot of plants been around for a long time. It depends on the investment and stuff like that. But what the thing is, when these companies, it depends on what company is going to come in. The question is, you're competing around the country. You know, everybody wants these high-tech jobs, and if you get the high-tech jobs and you start developing business in any corridor that has professionals, where you're getting more of the professionals coming in, then the county is benefiting from those salaries, because those salaries, you know, are going to be spent here and everything else. But when you look at it and we start talking, and Cathy makes a good point, Randy does, but it all boils back to this. We're going to be putting sewer on to attract companies, and nobody can articulate, and they start dancing when you ask them, so where is your analysis that shows what kind of companies you're going to bring in here? Because that's going to determine what is and how long it's going to pay back the sewer and the benefits you're providing. Nobody's doing that. So we got these jobs, but the thing is, with guys, where's the data? We don't know what kind of jobs they are. They could be shit jobs. We don't know.
That's the
Right?
other thing. You have to look at these companies, and if you look at the executives of the companies, if you look at the plant managers, if you look at the VPs, the people that work, if you look at their top engineers and that type of thing, oftentimes they do not live in Oconee County. They commute. Sometimes they live over in Georgia. Sometimes they're driving 2 hours. Sometimes they telecommute. They aren't living here. They aren't investing here. So you're not necessarily getting the money back that you're putting in by bringing these people here.
Right. But
Chris,
I'm speculating. Wait a minute, Randy. One thing. We're all speculating on this because there's no data that is with any type of specifics or justification for even doing what we're doing.
Right. Well,
There's no,
here's
it depends. Somebody's saying, get a sewer, and I'm going to come over here.
Here's some specifics. This is coming from the Federal Reserve Times Bank at the Bank of Philadelphia. It says here, the petrochemical and pharmaceutical industries, as well as the oil and gas sector, expect their plants to operate for 10 to 15 years. The life of certain pieces of equipment may considerably be shorter, and they may be replaced several times during that plant's life cycle. So 10 to 15.
Yeah, but Randy, you're talking about plants coming in and shutting down after 15 years. Hell, I've been in plants.
Take a ride through Oconee County and look at how many vacant buildings we have.
Yeah, but that's different.
They come here, they work, they take the tax break, and they leave people stranded.
No, okay, so we're going to have to disagree.
Hey, you're a GE guy. You know that's exactly what Jack West taught you.
No. But yeah, I know, but that doesn't. You're always going to have the possibility that
every
tax
break you can, and then leave. And that's what
you're going to have, the possibility of coming in and taking tax benefits to build. But if you're going to move and do a relocation, you're going to relocate for a few reasons. You're going to relocate for the cost, as far as, okay, where's my labor rate? What is it going to cost to improve equipment? But we're also talking about, we keep talking about and everything that everybody's saying, I'm not disagreeing with. The problem is we're talking about manufacturing jobs. These could be engineering jobs. These could be high-tech chip jobs.
Hey,
it
Chris,
could be anything.
Let me ask you one question. What do you have in your house right now that has not changed in 100 years? What piece of equipment, furniture, what? Do you have anything that's 100 years old and you still use it, or one like it?
Yeah, but Randy,
He has a clock.
that has nothing to do with the conversation
It has
because
everything to do.
these
It has-
plants. No, it doesn't.
Chris, it
These
has everything to
plants.
do with it because
No,
there's
it
no
doesn't. I
plant. There's no
disagree.
plant that's going to move here that's going to
Oh.
be here as long as Duke Power has been.
Okay,
Or
so let
will.
me no.
Period.
No. Let me say one thing.
They don't
You
build
have a
boats here.
you
They
have
don't-
a
they don't
bricks.
build motorhomes here. They don't do that kind of stuff here.
No, that's not
None of
true.
that stuff is going to be here.
That is not true.
Not common.
I'm going to have to side with Rannie on this one.
Well,
and even I
then
said-
you can. I disagree with you.
But
You're
the
talking about bricks and mortar buildings that you can go in and you could move equipment and you could modernize or you could change whatever you make.
Chris,
The
they don't
whole
even
point-
make brick and mortar buildings anymore. Take a ride down to I-85 and look how quick they're
Oh
throwing
my
these buildings
God,
together, and they fall right down in the first windstorm.
That's true.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay. So you know what? I'm never going to win this with you because first of
Because
all, I
you're
don't
wrong.
agree. I don't agree with you. It's not true, Randy. But let me tell you, the thing is, we are all speculating. And here is the risk. We're speculating because they're going to talk about spending all this money that's going to be north of $100 million and talk about all these jobs are going to come in. Okay, jobs may come in. The problem is, where is that analysis? You can't sit in a meeting like Amanda Brock did and talking about this crap. Where's the
That.
data? Where's the
What
data
are you
that
talking
shows
about?
why are they talking about right now the cost of doing something, but they have no justification for even doing it? Where's the
Because
cost?
fair play wants street lights.
Exactly.
No, they don't.
They want street lights.
They don't. That's why they live in fair play.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
the
just
point is, that's nonsensical. What you just said, Jeff, is crazy. It's like you're telling me you want me to spend $100 million because somebody wants a sidewalk or street lights and everybody wants it.
All right,
That's
look,
crazy. That
Chris,
doesn't make any sense. That'll bankrupt this county.
people here. The problem is that may have to, that what needs to happen. Let's go ahead and bankrupt the county. Then
agree.
Pickens County can come in and buy us for half off, and we could be a part of Pickens County. We could go back to like it once was before 1868.
And you
No,
know what?
thank you.
If I agree, Jeff,
Look,
the
here's
thing
the-
about it is you're talking about common sense things. You're like, hey, if we're going to do it, let's do it the right way. Let's not spend money until we know it's going to be a good investment. The justification drives what you're going to do. It's like, I'm going to do this with no justification and I'm going to spend $100 million because people
But
are going to come.
Here's what's going to happen. And I'm telling you, as sure as the sun rises tomorrow, I'm pretty smart when it comes to Oconee County and politics. And here again, I've been here all my life. So I kind of know what's going to happen. So, we're going to go ahead and let's say we move forward and we're going to build the golden Taj Mahal of all shit, Sewer South. Okay.
Taj Mahal.
Taj
Like a
Mahal,
mall.
gold line sewer plant. Okay. So here's what's going to
Here's
happen.
to the sewer plant.
Here's what's going to happen. Right now, we really honestly do not have an exact figure. We say $67 million. Well, and I know it, everybody on this show tonight knows that 67, that's just a made up number. We don't have the exact number. But let's talk about this. Our county budget is 62 million, so
Yeah.
to speak, give or take. We already have the one group of the OCC that wants to start questioning why the budget is at $62 million. I've heard Glenn Hart say it. I've heard all of them. Oh, I want to know why the budget is $62 million. Well, let's go ahead and let's do Sewer South. Let's do it. 67, 87, 97, 100 million, 110 million. We've run everything, got it all up and running. Where is the return on the investment? Who is going to pay for it? In the end, you can go get grants all day long. Grants is tax dollars, right? Everybody agree? Grants is tax dollars. Okay. So you can budget all of this here and put all this money in. At the end, who is going to pay for it? Rannie Bond, Cathy Littleton, Yerba, Chris, me. The dogs will probably have to pay for it. They'll have to get all the cats and dogs to start taxing them. So we're going to have to be paying taxes on a sewer system that's bringing no ROI, that's over $100 million, and the county is bankrupt.
But here's the thing. It doesn't stop at 100 million.
No, it doesn't.
Because here you're going to have to run water lines with the sewer, because you can't have one without the other. Now, I was just left a meeting down in Fairplay this evening before I got here. Was people parked down the street, across the road.
Right.
There's so many people there, and they're all farmers. They're concerned.
No, Randy, there aren't any farmers out there.
No,
That's
we don't
what
have
they
farmers.
said.
Remember,
There are no
But it
farmers
wasn't
out
even the
there.
weekend either. It wasn't the weekend
Right.
farmer,
Yeah.
was it?
weekend farmers.
Yeah,
Right.
they only
Listen.
farm. It's a hobby.
But they didn't have new. They didn't have
were
new cars.
They were absolutely insulted by what Miss
Hell,
Fox
I was insulted. I'm not a farmer.
insulted, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that at the next county council meeting, they're going to be there to let her know how insulting her comments were about them.
But let me tell you,
Now, but
can I
now-
say this?
But hold on,
She's at a rock and a hard place, and I'll explain in a minute.
but regardless
Well,
of
that's
what
just the way
rocker
it is, Jeff.
hard place she's at, she's insulted so many hardworking Americans that are super important to this county. Now, I sat down there for an hour and a half before we come up here.
Mhm.
Great group of people. It was very civil. There was, no pitchforks, no bonfire torches and stuff like it was at the OCC meeting.
No, I'm going to beat your ass or anything.
No, there wasn't
Okay.
none of that.
They're
Right.
going to drive their tractors to the council meeting.
But they had some nice handouts about this Fairplay Townville Basin area sewer study, and one of the things that I found was kind of interesting was on the board they show this area where they're going to put another sewer system in phase 2 of this project, another sewage treatment plant. Well, the problem is the area that they've picked is under a conservation easement, and that farm is protected from anything but farming.
Where's it at on phase 2?
It's down there. I don't have the map. I can't point that to you.
Okay.
But wherever that building was, where we was in that meeting, it was at the end of that road.
Oh, okay. Pine Grove. I know where you're talking
Okay.
about. Yeah, Pine Grove. Okay.
So, but anyway, there wasn't a lot of thought went into this $67 million over 20 years assessment that these consultants brought to the table. They didn't look at every aspect. They didn't talk to any of the farmers down there. They didn't talk. Who did they talk to? Because that's the question. Is everybody that was down there
who was the
said,
20?
Yeah, but that's not their job.
well, right.
Their job is to provide costs.
But then,
Chris, they got 20 people, stakeholders involved in a meeting.
but
Who are the 20 stakeholders?
so
Right?
then you flash forward to this farm agriculture task force,
Mhm.
this meeting where Miss Brock insulted the farmers, and then you had Lisa Jones from Buford, which is absolutely the most unagriculturally. There's no agriculture in Buford. That's all houses and retirees, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of money. Well, she's the consultant that was hired for the ag task force. She wants to say that property rights aren't really anything more than a political issue, right?
I think
That's
they're
what
shrimping in Buford.
yeah. Well,
What did you say, Cathy?
They're shrimping in Buford.
know,
They
public
shrimp in
shrimp.
Buford.
It's
but
not near the
so-
ocean, is it?
so here's the
Buford?
thing. That ag task force was
Oh, Buford, like on the coast. Okay.
right, but so
Not Bufford
this
or
ag
whatever it is.
task force was supposed to be set up. The Farm Bureau, that's the advocacy organization for farmers, not the insurance company. They do sell insurance, but they're more. They
advocate
for farmers.
That's
They were
Farm
told
Bureau.
they were going to have a seat at the table at that meeting, and they didn't have a seat at the table at that meeting, and they want to know why. And the state executive for Farm Bureau for the upstate was at this meeting I was at tonight,
Mhm.
and he was told, and this is what he said. He said that Miss Jones, he reached out to Miss Jones, and she said, "Oh, I'll be more than happy to come out to Fairplay or Townville or any church or any of these places that you'd like for me to speak to, any group you'd like, if Miss Brock approves it."
Did we
Really?
really?
If Miss
Okay.
Brock,
Hey, Jeff.
So whose project is this?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Okay, so I just want to get this out. I just want to make sure I'm courteous to everybody. So, okay, so this is my biggest. Here are a couple points I want to make. We're talking about the costs, and because that's what we have. They provided a number of 67 million that I don't believe. I think it's going to be closer to 130 or whatever when they're all done. The problem is you what you're doing is talking about doing something with cost with no justification. You can't even begin to articulate about cost until you have a solid justification for it. Then, okay, now let's figure out how we're going to do it because we have that justification. We don't have that. When you look at these types of improvements, personally, I prefer a more urban community. I like living in Seneca, and I knew that Seneca, when we were coming here, that it would grow because the urbanization provides better medical care, education, shopping, all that stuff. Having said that, that does not negate the fact that you should be very suspicious because, like Jeff said, you got people arguing in this group for $20 for essential services for first responders and all that. And just like that, they're willing to spend 67 to 100 million bucks saying
Yes.
jobs will come. That smells. That from a business perspective, I throw that out the window. That's a red warning flag. There's something going on here. And in the end, until people can articulate clearly why we're doing it, I think the taxpayers, the farmers, all of us in this county, taxpayers, I think we're all royally getting screwed.
Well, and listen to the reasoning. They keep saying, oh, we need sewer so we can have these businesses come to the 85 corridor because manufacturing needs to be on 85.
Yeah.
We've had tons of manufacturing here. Jeff,
They
you
don't know what
remember,
the hell they're talking about, Cathy. They never
we
had the
tons of
responsibility.
manufacturing here for 30 years, and none of it was on 85. And it survived 50 something plus years.
Because the commerce industry of Oconee County
It was
doesn't
nowhere
run
near
through
85.
It doesn't run through 85.
Okay, well, let's go back to the
Never.
farmers for a minute. Let's go back to the farmers that live down there. There's a county ordinance, and they handed this out, and it says a 2.4 use of public sewer is required. Use of public sewer required. It shall be unlawful for any person to place, deposit, or permit to be deposited in any unsanitary manner on public or private property in areas under the jurisdiction of the OJRSA.
We talked about that last
but
week.
Here's the thing. People have said, oh, if your sewer's failing, then you could tap on. Well, it says in here, right here in this, you have 90 days to tap on or receive a fine.
But we also have it in that task force meeting that they said that it was for commercial only.
Well, it says right here in this ordinance,
All
if it comes within 300 feet.
Well,
now, listen,
we talked about that.
Now, this is where it's going to affect these farmers. If it comes within 300 feet of your property line, unless there is under unusual and specific circumstances, the director may waive this provision. Now, but here's the problem. So you've got a 50-acre farm. This pipe goes 300 feet from the backside of your 50 acres, and they require you to hook up because the county needs the money to support the system.
That's right.
But wait a minute.
But no, listen,
Let me
finish my statement.
The county cannot. It's not the county.
It's the OJSRA.
Right. That's a different entity that was approved by a referendum.
And that's
but it's
fine.
also set up that it cannot make money.
Well, here's the thing. It can't lose money either. And to not lose money.
But
Jeff, let me finish. To not lose money, it's going to take at least 50% of the population to voluntarily jump on this. It says that in their
they said that in their meeting.
I know they did. But what I'm trying to tell y'all, sewer ain't making money now.
Well, that's fine.
They're losing money now under the current situation, the way it's set up.
And that's and it's not going to get any better.
No, it's going to get worse.
And here's the thing. It's going to get worse, and it's going to take people down with them. It's going to take farms down with them. Because here's the thing. How do you get your sewer bill? it's 2 times your water bill, right? There's no shit meter on your house. There's nothing.
It is based upon the gallon, but the Seneca bills their sewer through Seneca Light and Water.
Mhm.
Walhalla does the same thing.
Right. Now, Pioneer is going to have to run water to all of these places that get sewer because there's no sewer meter. It's 2 times your water. Now
Right.
you're forcing people on Pioneer water. Now you got farmers out there that are on Pioneer water that are feeding 500, watering 500 cows. They're watering 30,000 chickens.
Yeah, but they do.
Now here's the thing.
They do
But
have
here-
a way to calculate
but
that
they
in the summer.
won't.
Well, I'm just tell you,
And,
Seneca
and
does.
this is what the farmers are concerned about, Jeff, is that they're using a whole bunch of water, and then the county or OJSR, which Oconee Joint Regional Sewer Authority, which is in the county, and
Okay.
whoever it is going to require them
Then
to pay
explain to
that
me.
money.
Explain to me. We already have a line down to 59 down at the Golden Corners Commerce Park.
Right.
If that's the case, why there's nobody tapped onto that line now? If that's an enforcement,
Because
no one has tapped onto that line.
that's a forced main, and as soon as the forced main feeds to a gravity system, which takes in Fair Play and all them little houses down there that want it, those 140 people that said they want it,
But they're not running it to those little people.
but they will,
No,
because
they're
that's
not.
what this is all
No,
about.
they're not. The plan is no. The plan that we're going by right now is to either run it exit 4 or exit 2.
But
We're not taking
Your
it
problem,
off.
the problem is you're only looking at phase 1. You're not looking at phase 2 and phase 3. Phase 2 and phase 3 bring the community into it with gravity fed systems, and that's where the farmers have problems. If this thing was going to blow right by them and right down to the interstate, they wouldn't give a shit. But phase 2 and phase 3 really does affect them.
So Rannie, I think both you guys are making excellent points. I only have, and if I was looking at it and they could say, okay, there's no cost.
But wait, there's more.
Oh,
Pioneer Water, to hook up to them, you have to, for a 3/4 inch pipe coming off of their main, it's $1,700 impact fee right up front. 5/8 inch is $2,500, but a 1 inch pipe is a $4,100 impact fee according to this handout. Now that's just to put the
That's a tap fee.
right. Now there's going to be a tap fee for sewer too. It's not free at all. Now, so
Right.
you're talking right there. That's $10,000 or $15,000 right up front that every house down there that is forced within this 90-day date of after this notice is due. That's $10,000.
well,
That's
they can
a lot.
afford it. I mean, why aren't they asking the OCC why they're pushing it if everything's so rosy,
Yeah.
right? So all that you're talking about for all those costs.
This document
Because
I'm reading,
what
I want
they
to make
want
sure some
is-
people can find it.
Okay,
is
go
OJSRA
ahead.
regulation. Okay, OJSRA sewer use regulation 2.4, revised 8/23/19. That's where it can be found.
Okay, now let me ask a question because you both are, I mean, everybody's making great points.
By the
Here's
way,
the
it's up
question.
on the screen too.
Okay, so let me ask you, you know what? If we didn't have to pay a dime, nobody had to pay a dime.
I had
It's
it last
crazy.
week.
I mean, I think sewer's great. I mean, having this infrastructure, hell yeah. But I want to ask one question. Why are we doing this? Why? And I'm not
Because-
saying I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying there's a huge cost. Why are we doing it?
You want to know what I think?
Well, no, I mean, can anybody answer that? Cathy, why?
Because we're going to bring jobs, y'all. Jobs. Everybody's going to be lining up down at Interstate 85 to build plants.
Okay, so
I
you
think
think it's
so.
jobs, Rannie?
But here,
Rannie,
if you read
why
the
are we doing
handout-
it, Rannie? You tell me.
I'll tell you why. Right here in this handout that was given to these farmers, it says a casino is a $300 million hotel and casino on 5 miles of Lake Hardwell shoreline at the South Carolina border. The site is around 500 acres right off The Interstate 85 exits, exit 177, just over the border. It would include both luxury and workforce housing, retail, and a golf course.
So you think it's coming? Is the pressure coming from
Here,
the
it says here,
casino?
developer Rick Lackey said he will continue negotiations and he expects to have contracts signed with several casino operators by early next year in anticipation of approval. He said he has 5,000 acres in the state under listing contracts, including sites on Lake Hartwell, the coast, Atlanta, and near the Florida border.
Wait a minute. I thought gambling was illegal in South Carolina, particularly video poker.
It is, but not in Georgia. And all this 4 miles of our interstate, they want to tether to that. So
and see, she said something very important the other night. She said that the push from this, that the people who don't live here but own property here for vacation homes really want this.
Hell, I don't want it.
Not you.
I live here.
Not you. The people in the lower part of the county who live here only part-time and vacation here, the resort areas, she even said, the resort areas.
What resort
really
areas?
Want this.
Well, hell, let them pay for it then.
We're going to put it in Lake Hartwell State Park? I mean, we put it in Lake Hartwell State Park Resort. Chickasaw Point is not a resort. That is a subdivision that's built on Lake Hartwell, and they have their own sewer plant.
But I don't think that's what she was talking about. But I think she was talking about, more along the Fairplay area. But I don't know what resorts out there.
Here's the deal. Here's what we do. Let's just go ahead and build the damn thing, and we'll go ahead and cut funding to Parks, Recreation, Tourism. We'll watch our county parks go down. Since tourism, by the way, apparently in Oconee County is bad. I mean, so says Samantha Johnson that it's bad. Tourism has the pheasants, and I thought that was interesting. The pheasants in this county. Is it peasants or pheasants? I'm so confused. But let's just go ahead and build the damn thing. When we're broke, then we'll just sit around and we can sit here and do the show. We'll have fiber from Upcountry Fiber because that's what we got. It works. We can all say, we told you so. Build the damn thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, there'll be some
but
people.
Maybe that's what they actually want. Maybe they want to run a bunch of people off, to where they can't afford their property, and then they can buy it up for a deal.
Yeah. There'll be some people that'll make a lot of money. So here's the thing. I don't begrudge anybody making a buck at all. But just, this whole crap, and it's like these guys in the OCC, they have no idea what the hell this is about. There's something going on there. What I care about is just be honest. Why? Who's making the money? Tell us the justification so we can open our eyes.
It's funny how that the members of the OCC were all 4 farmers in the south side of the county until they sold their farm and moved to the mountain.
You're right, Rannie. You're exactly right. They were all gung-ho about property rights, and we can't hurt the farmers. The farmers are the backbone. You remember this?
I remember.
The farmers were the backbones of Oconee County, and it's all.
It was all the lake people. Hey,
yeah. The lake people was trying to get rid of.
We're trying to screw everybody and take advantage, living off our 401s.
But
and how you don't want to mess up the countryside and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, let's bring in a bunch of factories. Maybe some paper plants or some tire factories or something.
And
that's going to look real
500
good.
home subdivisions where they just scrape it up and throw it into an overloaded infrastructure. Let's just make one point because I want to get this point in for the show ends. The farmers and everybody in the county can turn their eyes all they want. On this show, we've been saying this since day one that these people are playing people. Haven't we said that? Rannie, Jeff,
yeah.
Cathy?
Well, yeah. I got this. I took this picture at Home Depot earlier, and I really feel like it sums up what's going on in the county. It was these rubber gloves were in a bin, and it says a $6 value. It says $6 value, and they want $7.47 for it.
Well,
yeah.
And then I want to read. This here, and this was the OCC's promise to the county.
Well, I've got one too.
That's what I was going to read.
But I won't read ours.
Oh, this
Can
is
I read
juicy.
ours real quick?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah, this is juicy. This is Let's Talk Oconee. This is our purpose: to unite everybody in Oconee County and bridge the gap against the OCC's mentality, in turn, become a united force to defeat all 5 of the people that run the OCC, to have a voice and choice in all 4 corners of Oconee County, to stand beside our friends and neighbors with great values to denounce the OCC, but we will live by the Constitution that will benefit all Oconeans, and we will abide by our own damn thoughts and feelings. That's ours.
Right.
Go ahead. Yours next.
So, David Nix posts, we welcome all conservatives to the OCC LLC who will follow our platform.
Yes, you got to follow their platform. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Right.
Is there initiation like Animal House? Do you remember? You've watched Animal House, right?
No, but
it
here's
reminds me of them
but-
going in.
No,
in
but
this
here's the
dark
thing.
room, and they're making people bend over. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
But then you got this guy.
That's what I hear when I hear them talking.
But we got this guy out here sending emails around saying, well, we don't think that we should change the bylaws of the Republican Party because it sounds kind of like a blood oath that they're doing down in Columbia. But the only way you're getting into the OCC is if you follow our platform.
That's right.
To the T.
Yep. And
Hey,
make
you
up
know
your
what, guys?
mind.
When I'm
You do
talking, you know
what I
what?
say.
Think of this.
As long as I'm here,
Everybody watching the show. Do you know why we've gotten veiled death threats? The 4 of us on this show? Because what we're telling you is the truth. All we're asking you might not like me staring in the screen with my San Francisco hat on. All I'm telling you, you gotta ask the questions. This smells. It doesn't make any sense. They're spouting a bunch of bullshit at you. That's all they're doing.
I mean, look at that, how pretty that is. Ruined,
what
the camera's all messed up.
Oh, wait a second. Yeah. Beautiful.
Okay.
Well,
Now,
yeah,
that's
Rannie,
much
I'm sorry not all of us can be from Brooklyn like you. Forget about it.
Listen, but here, we talk about those veiled death threats or whatever I mean,
I don't care.
I am concerned, but I'm not scared.
I don't really give a damn.
But here's the thing: this is what I want our listeners to know is as we move forward and the politics continue to get out of hand, what we found here, and Jeff and I were just talking about it today, we've had probably 30 to 60 fake accounts that we've had to kick off of Let's Talk
Absolutely.
because it's only 4 or 5 people.
Yep.
And if you just listen to their message for 5 minutes, you can tell which one of those 5 idiots it is.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but I did have somebody sent this to me yesterday that sometime ago, Tony Adams posted. He said, I admit I responded in kind. And when the going got tough and the heat turned up, Perry Smith and David Nix tried to change the subject, etc. And when this did not work, they tucked their tail and they ran. Mr. Smith and Mr. Nix are social media cowboys and pride themselves at the powerless and often go underground to ply their trade when the going gets tough. A real cowardly tactic. They can manipulate with the best to spread misinformation, etc. I have even heard them brag about being able to match a media post to a specific neighborhood, etc. And Mr. Nix is more proficient than Mr. Smith. So
that was just a year ago.
That was just a year
ago.
But here's the thing:
that's a Boogie Reader periodical that's published.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing: they've sat there and created hundreds of fake accounts just so that they can be disingenuous with the people of the county.
I still want to make Luis Gonzalez.
But people need to know that, hey, when you're getting a friend request from somebody and then they start pouring their heart out to you about the sewer or this or that or whatever other super liberal special interest that the OCC is going to be behind next, just make sure that it doesn't sound like Perry or David. I mean, and you can tell when it's Lewis because I mean the words don't even, match up.
We did. I
mean, it's like Sewer South good, Ooga Booga, Julian bad.
Julian bad.
I mean, that's all that guy's got. But be cognizant of how you're being manipulated by this group.
It just gets worse every day, every week when we leave this show. We talk about all of this, and then just a couple of days later, here's something new. Again, it's not, we have explained over and over how we feel about Sewer South. In the end, the people are the ones that's going to have to go up to county council. They're going to
Wake
have
up and
to form
show
the
up.
door, wake up and show up.
That's
If
right.
they're concerned about how this county is going, then it's going to take people showing up to say, wait a minute, stop. We elected you to do a job. We
Yes.
can only sit here for so many times and discuss it over and over. But in the end result, tonight, it sounds like there was a great turnout at Fair Play. There's people concerned now. So let's see if those people will go up and drive up to Pine Street, walk in that council chamber, and explain and say exactly the same things.
That's a heck of a movement from Pine Grove to Pine Street.
That's exactly, but that's what it's going to take. People are going to have to start speaking out. All of this stuff that's going on with the school district.
But speak up, respect. Speak up
I'm
respectively.
telling you right now, when one of them disingenuous bastards says to you that sewer was going to go by your house and you're never going to be made to get on it, they're a lying. You will be eventually made to get on that sewer.
At some point, it's got to, because they've got to have a ROI. They've got to have the return on the investment. And if you don't have a return on investment and you don't have anything sitting down there, well, the only other way that you could do is charge a sewer fee. Like, what was it they were going to charge in Anderson County? This building fee that was unconstitutional. They were going to charge X amount of dollars if you build in Anderson County.
That's an impact fee that the school system was going to charge.
Okay.
$11,500 per new structure for a single family house. It's $7,500 per unit in a multi-unit house.
Right. They were going to charge all this.
They had to do that because the growth was overwhelming them, because their county council had no idea what they were doing when they let all that unhinged business come to town.
And we've got the same issue brewing right now. Instead of talking about Sewer South, we better be talking about fixing the sewer lines of what we got.
Right.
You mean about failure of the infrastructure?
Yeah. Because
about how we had.
Well, one of the farmers,
we can't bother with that.
One of the farmers down there in Pine Grove said that tonight. He said, if you read the paper and they tell you that the existing infrastructure requires $50 million worth of repairs right now.
Yes.
Why would you add one more foot of service to that without fixing it first?
That's exactly correct.
You mean, are you talking about all these subdivisions that have no controls, no planning?
No
we're
impact? No. We're talking about main sewer lines that was installed in the late 70s. We're talking about main lines that go back to Conner Ross.
No, that's what I mean. I'm talking about now you're going to start overloading it.
One of the things
it's already overloaded.
Right,
it's getting worse, Jeff. Look what's happened behind Clemson Eye.
One of the speakers at the meeting that I was at suggested that they were told by the OJSRA or someone there that if everybody in Fair Play and just one manufacturing business joined, that they would have to build the second facility, because this one here that we have now is already beyond capacity.
Yes.
So why are we trying to extend this thing without building the new treatment facility first?
Well, I explained all of this, and it's on our page. And Cathy, I think you've seen the historical. I posted a lot of the old stuff about how we got to the current plant, and
we were never meant.
It was never designed.
It was never designed for this.
This county sewer was never designed. It was only designed for at the time, the three municipalities: Westminster, Walhalla, and Seneca. And it was designed to control urban growth. It never was designed to run 12 miles from Conner Ross to Fair Play.
No.
Now, it never was designed for this. But you're looking at a system that was built fully functional starting in 1980. Is when the first poop hit the fan in 1980. They started talking about building this in 74. It took that long. And then every time they would start building it, they come up with more money. They had to get more money, more money. Same thing that's going to happen with Sewer South. History doesn't lie. It's in black and white. It's posted on our page. If folks want to have a history lesson, they can go read it.
So one of the other things I'll bring up from that meeting, another guy suggested, was that the farmers aren't necessarily against growth in the county. They're against the urban sprawl. There needs to be planned and systematic growth in the county. Westminster, the city of Westminster, is starving. People are it's that town is
They can't
dying.
afford the power bill over there. They can't afford the water
So
bill.
why not do things with the power of the county to encourage businesses and organizations and factories and plants and things like that to go and invest in Westminster or West Union or West Seneca or West anything.
We have a plant right now in Westminster that has sit vacant for almost 20 something years.
But it's obsolete now and they need to be tore down. The wiring, everything that had to be redone. What goes back to what I said earlier. These plants become obsolete. The people move from them. They go overseas. They go next door, whatever. But they leave this industrial decay behind. And look at Michigan.
So Jeff, I want to be next. I want to be next after Rannie.
Kathy's got the floor. Go ahead, Cathy.
Go ahead, Cathy.
I was just going to say, with the urban sprawl, we have the one natural asset in this area, and that's the lakes, the rivers, and the waterfalls. And if we don't take care of that, I know you get all this goobly gop from people about, it being a retirement place and a retirement, but we have, natural beauty in this area. And if we don't protect that and just allow people to just squander that, I mean, that's foolish. If we don't protect the natural beauty of the area, that's stupid.
No, I go next. Kathy, are you done? Go ahead, Kathy, until you're done. Yeah. Jeff's controlling this. Go ahead.
Go, Chris.
Tell me about the pheasant hunting here.
Okay, so I want to say this. We talked about people going down to county council. I've got three things I want to say. You going down to county council and letting them know. That is one thing that the OCC has been successful with, and that is screaming and yelling and bullying anybody into silence to the point that a lot of people don't give their input. Okay, and that's one of the issues. So when they're flipping like this, they're doing the same thing, bullying people, trying to bully people into silence. And here's the second thing. On the View. And here's the second thing, Jeff. You're talking about the infrastructure. Mm-hmm. They have convinced people that zoning or planning is stealing property. So what you're seeing is exactly what Jeff said. We've got this antiquated infrastructure that is working, but is getting ready to overload. It will be overloaded by these new developments, these 300, 400 house developments coming in with no planning around that infrastructure, and you will overload it. It will implode. It will cost you millions of dollars to the residents to fix this. When I talked in November, December to the county, I was very clear. You will never convince people in this county because the OCC has poisoned people against sensible planning until you get the right consultants coming in that's going to tell people, okay, guys, this is where you're headed and this is the pain you're going to have is what it's going to cost you. That does not cost that much money. It's less than $100,000. We have no idea where we are right now and how bad it is. And we refuse to spend that money because, that's too much money, but they want to spend this $100 million, period.
Well, they spent $100,000 on this sewer thing. And
exactly.
that same company could have done the studies that you suggested while doing the sewer study.
And all they're doing is telling us how bad it is so we can start figuring out what's the approach going forward. They'll never do it, and that's why we're going to be in trouble.
I mean, why can't we just have some common sense and decency? Just common sense. Common sense will tell you that Sewer South is bad business all the way around.
Unga booga.
It's just exactly. And this system over here that we've got now, it's already been expanded one time. It was expanded back in the mid 80s because the projections that they thought they wouldn't hit sewer by 2020, it fell very short. So we've already expanded it again, but yet we want to spend $100 million plus on. I have the problem with the turds. I mean, is turds that? If that's the case, I really need to get out of the radio business and open up a turd factory. That's
Hope you got a few million.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, I'll tell you this.
Then I'm going to take your name, Jazzy Jeff.
Something my granny told me. She said, if you want to make money, do the job somebody else wants to do, and you'll make money. Nobody wants to deal in shit.
Nope.
So you probably make $1 million.
Yeah.
So
all I got to do is stand up in front of Oconee County and just say, hey, look, I'm going to build sewer plant. I'm going to bring jobs here. Just dole me out $1 million, and I'll even name it. I'll even give it a name, great name, the OCC shitter.
Well, hey, let's talk about something else. I'm tired of talking about this. Had a conversation earlier today about litter on the highways.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Drive up 28 out of Walhalla to Mountain Rest.
Yeah.
Drive 59 to Pine Grove.
Mm-hmm.
Drive 11. Drive anywhere in this county.
They're dumping.
I can't understand why anybody from anywhere else in the world would want to come to this shithole. This place is terrible.
Because
it's nasty.
We can't dump stuff. We need to dump at the recycling centers.
There's something has to be done. Something has to be done. I mean, and only trash litters. People are you really riding up the highway going, man, right now in these S curves going up 28 is the appropriate time for me to clean out my car?
They come up to your neck of the woods and dump a lot too.
They do. They throw their crap out.
Mattresses, televisions, air conditioners.
And then you got the county there at one point last year was talking about a use fee, like $1 per trash bag or something that you put in the convenience center. I'll tell you what, there'll be all kind of trash bags all over the mountain after that. But
no, people will go back what they used to do here. They used to get 55-gallon drums and burn your trash in the backyard.
But really, though, it's unreal. And it's not
it's because they don't enforce it. But we got laws, they don't enforce them.
But I just drive around some of these old mountain roads though, and sometimes you can't tell if it's a junkyard, a yard sale, or moving day. What the hell is going on?
People are nasty.
Because you go try to dump something and you either can't take it to a convenience center, you have to take it to a landfill, the Seneca landfill over here. I mean, that's been an issue that I've had. I mean, I don't even know if the recycling centers accept mattresses. I think there's only like one or two that you can take a mattress.
No,
and that's
not a mattress.
Yeah.
They don't?
Yeah. The one over here at Strawberry Farm Road does. At Strawberry Farm Road does accept mattresses. And the reason being, it's right beside the landfill.
I'll tell you what, they'll accept them after 7 o'clock if you hit them over the fence.
Yep. And they get you.
So,
I mean, Rannie, you look nice holding a mugshot.
Well, I've had one before.
Yeah, I know.
But the thing about it is and I'll tell you, because I had a friend tell me about this. There was one that they watched, and I remember who was telling me about this. Watch somebody, and this was out on Old Clemson Highway.
Mm-hmm.
I remember who was. I may have even read it on Facebook. They watched somebody after they told them they couldn't dump it on the one on Old Clemson Highway. Dumped the mattress on Old Clemson Highway, and then they kept calling and asking them to come get it because they just dumped it on the road, and they wouldn't come get it.
Yeah,
so it just laid out there.
Yeah, I do remember that. All right, well, we are coming down to the end of the show here on this Thursday. It has been it's been a barn burner, that's for sure.
But I really, in the next couple of future shows, I would really like to address the litter situation in the county.
I have no problem with
because
that.
I'm tired of talking about the shit situation.
We'll have more to talk next week after Tuesday. Yeah, we'll have another update Tuesday. I guarantee you, because there'll be something happening. It's about time for another 2-2 vote where nothing happens. As closer we get to March and April, boy, we're going to be in full swing. We're going to have a lot to talk about for the month of April.
I wonder if you'll wear a cowboy hat to court.
I don't know. I was thinking about the same thing.
Hey, did you get an update on the girls?
No, all I know is that the girls apparently have been found, but that's all I can tell you right now.
And one other thing that for upcoming shows. I do have a FOIA request into Miss Jennifer Adams about the coaching scandal that's may possibly occur in county council meetings. So I'm looking forward to that. The 10-day to respond expires on February the 9th. So hopefully by next Thursday, I'll have some sort of update.
Good.
I want to mention too, real quickly, that Jennifer and Luke Moore, with more to the story, is going to be in the couple of weeks. They're going to be having an interview with allegedly some SDOC officials, including Dr. Thorsland and some others. So we're going to follow that closely.
Do they have any rules for the interview like
Yeah,
they do for the bus?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Will they change 3 times before the interview?
Maybe. And also, too, a little tidbit of information. This is Black History Month. And I actually posted this on our Facebook page just a couple of days ago, about 4 days ago, that Harvey Gantt made history as Clemson's first African-American student admitted to Clemson University. But a lot of people didn't know at the time. Yes, it's true. Clemson was in Oconee County prior to 1968. And I'm going to have a little talk about that next week, because a lot of people don't understand the dynamics of why we lost Clemson and what we gained in return. So we'll have a little history lesson next week for folks to understand. Yes, Clemson was in Oconee County prior to 1968. So, Chris, final thoughts from you.
Yep. The only thing I want to say is that
You love us. We appreciate you.
I'm not opposed to Sewer South. What I'm opposed to is that there's no reasoning behind it and no justification, so we understand the why and if it's a good investment. If they were to talk about another capital improvement project, I wouldn't be opposed, because I don't know what to oppose. I'm opposing what's happening right now because I know the dollars are going to be well above 100, and we could literally bankrupt a county, but nobody has done their due diligence to articulate clearly the whole reason we're doing this is because of this, and it's going to give us this, which totally outweighs what the costs are. That's not there. And when you do that, that's how a fool and their money are quickly parted.
All right, Cathy, final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily opposed to Sewer South either. I'm kind of tired of hearing about it, but I think that you can't go forward with something when it seems that so many people are against it. And I'm with Chris when you have no proof that it's going to return on the investment, and it's probably going to cost a lot of people their homes.
Rannie Bond.
The disingenuousness of the Sewer South plan and the lack of transparency in it is what makes it bad. Taking Sewer South to Fair Play to help those people out and let them have streetlights, let them have sidewalks. That's all fine, but tell us why you're actually taking it down there. Stop lying to us. And I want to stop with this with a question from one of our listeners. It said, how would Robert Smalls feel about the OCRP? Robert Smalls was one of the black guys that helped found the Republican Party. And my answer was, I'd say he would be completely ashamed of how the previous chairman treated people of different ethnicities when they came to the party. I'd say if he was to choose between the OCRM and the OCC, that he would be eating salmon and drinking them bougie beers over at the Lighthouse.
Well, here's my final thought. I am against Sewer South. And here's my reasons why I'm against Sewer South. Number one, when you have infrastructure that's failing, we had a major sewer line that our repair folks couldn't get to because of the undergrowth that had occurred for 20-something years. You fix what you've got first before you even remotely talk about spending $100-something million. And you really don't have a justification for the plan. You don't even have the cost of what it's going to cost to bore under Lake Hartwell. You have no ROI. Now, if it's a private business, do you think a private business is going to jump off the ship and just spend money like crazy, knowing that they don't have a plan? Until Oconee County has a plan that is achievable and a actual cost figure of what this is going to be, I will always be against this project. I don't think this is in the best interest of Oconee County long term, because number one, until you do something with Golden Corners Commerce Park, then I can't go forward in supporting something when you already have something there. Now, there is things happening behind the scenes. We're going to see this property graded here real soon. If that spurs a business to come in and purchase it, then I might be on board. But until something is concrete, hey, look, we're coming, we want to build, I can't support Sewer South. Not at the present, not the way it's given right now.
So before we go, my listeners have been texting me about why I didn't read any of the public articles and things like that. Because I wanted to give out a special shout out to two businesses that I've experienced this week. First one is Redbird's Hot Dog Express and Catering.
Yep.
Tomorrow she's going to be down on Old Clemson Highway 255 and
Stubblefield,
around,
is that her name?
I guess
I think it's Stubblefield.
So
Her
anyway, she's doing a great job with those hot dogs, and keep it up. The county appreciates you. And the other one, the other sponsor of our show that I'd like to reach out and say something about right now is where's my binky.com.
Where's my binky?
Yeah, where's my binky.com. I'm really glad to know that they enjoy our show as well.
Mybinky.com.
Yep.
Binky. He said Binky.
Chris knows what I'm talking about.
Binky,
Yeah,
binky.
I wonder who authored that. Oh. Hey, I want to do a shout out to my woman and my little girl Abby and my grandson JR. She just texted me and told me to do that. So there you go. Now she's gonna buy me lunch for it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it, everybody. If you all will hang on the line, we'll come back to you in just a second. Appreciate you joining us again this week for another hard-hitting action edition of Let's Talk Oconee. What do you think, Randy? It's time to get out of here?
I think so. I'm going to look up developer Elman Henry and give him a call. Okay,
that sounds like a good idea. All right, folks. If you missed the show, you'll be able to check it out again Saturday morning at 7:30. Join us again. We hope that you'll be a part of the program. As always, Let's Talk OconeeSC.com. You can find the show. You can go back and watch it anytime. And we want you to watch it. And just remember, we love the OCC as much as they love us. We'll see you next time here on Let's Talk Oconee SC.
Live long and prosper.